Hi everyone, this is Matt with TrueBudget. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of how to actualize your budget. You can see here that we have a completed budget. To actualize it, we must use the three logs that are part of TrueBudget: the purchase order log, the payroll log, and the petty cash log. Let's start with the purchase order log. A purchase order is essentially a promise to pay a company for goods or services. Most larger production companies use purchase orders on their projects, but if yours does not, you can still use this log to track the invoices you need to pay. We'll start by placing a vendor name in the payee column. Next, enter the PO number. If you aren't using POs on your project, you can leave this blank. If you want to enter the date you issued the PO, you can do so here. Once you've paid the vendor, you can notate how you paid it here in the Pay ID column. I'm going to put in CC1234 to indicate I paid with a credit card with the last four digits 1234. Then put in the amount you're paying the vendor. You'll notice that I skipped the line column over here on the left. This part is very important, so I saved it for last. What you want to enter here is a line number from one of the budget pages that matches this expense. For instance, if this invoice was for walkie-talkies, you'd enter 200 in the line column. Doing this is critical because if you don't, TrueBudget won't be able to track the expenses in the actual. If you have a PO that covers more than one line number, just create another row on the log for it. For instance, let's say on this same PO you also have some production supplies. You would make a new row on the log, repeating the same information in these columns. Then type in the amount that is for production supplies. Then for the line number on this row, type in 204. In addition to all the line numbers on the budget pages, you can also use lines 19 through 21 on the cost summary sheet. For instance, if you wanted to code a PO to line 19 on the cost summary sheet, you would type CS19 here. In TrueBudget, you can actually create the purchase orders themselves. If you'd like to learn how to do that, we have another video that will walk you through it. That's it for the purchase order log, so now let's go to the payroll log. The payroll log is for listing all of the time cards for your cast and crew. It works very similarly to the purchase order log. You want to put in all the relevant information for a row, starting with the person's name. The WE column is the week ending column, so put the week ending date of the time card here. If you're planning to list the invoices from your payroll company on the purchase order log, you can list the PO number you'll be using here. However, this column is not mandatory, so it's okay to leave it blank. You can change the header on this next column, so it can be used for anything you want. For instance, if you don't need to track your payroll batches, but instead wanted to notate who on your crew was a member of what union, you could change the header like this. And then you can type in the union for this person here. Next, enter your fringe percent here. If this person is in a union or guild, enter your PH&W percent here. Please note that you may need to tweak these numbers once your payroll is complete in order to get your payroll log total to match exactly with the amounts of the payroll company invoices. If you're paying any overtime to the person, you must enter the OT base for them. Otherwise, you can leave it blank. Now, enter the number of days you're paying them on this particular time card, and then the day rate you're paying them. If you owe them overtime, enter that in these next three columns. The miscellaneous taxable and non-taxable columns are for additional payments you need to make to the crew member. Depending on what the payment is for, you might want to include it on a different row if it will be charged to a different line number. For instance, let's say you are paying your makeup artist a kit fee on their time card. Input the amount in the kit fee column in the next row. Just like on the purchase order log, it is very important that you enter a line number in the line column for every row on the log. This way, TrueBudget will track all costs on the log in the actual. For this first row, I'll enter 61, which is a line on page 1B. The next row is where I had input the kit fee, and I want that to go to line 135. Lastly, let's look at the petty cash log. There are actually two versions of the petty cash log, but I'm only going to talk about the version you see here. This is known as the grid version, but there is also a linear version. You can switch between them on the Actual tab of the main options menu. When you have a petty cash envelope completed and are ready to enter the information, here's how you do that. Start by typing the crew member's name in the cell just below the number of the envelope you want to assign to them. Next, in the line column, type each line number that exists on your petty cash envelope. Then, in the cell next to each line number, enter the total of that line number from the envelope. Then, in this cell here, enter how much cash the crew member was given. In this cell, it will show you how much the crew person is owed, or how much they owe you. In this case, the crew member owes you $14.78. If you need to add more rows to the log, you can do that with the Add Rows button. If you need to add more envelope columns, you can do that with the Add Envelope button. If you'd like to, you can actually create your own petty cash envelope cover sheets directly in TrueBudget. If you'd like to learn how to do that, you can find another video on our website that will walk you through it. We're now finished with the logs, so I want to show you how to see the actual amounts on the budget pages. Let's start here on the cost summary sheet. If you click the Display Options button here at the top, it will open this window. I'm going to check the box for actual as well as variance. This shows a breakdown of the actual costs for each section based on the information I've input on the logs. Next to the actual column is the variance column. That shows the difference between the two. If the number is in red, it means you are under budget in that section. If the number is in black, that means you are over budget in that section. This cell here shows if you are over budget or under budget for the entire project. You can see the actual total for each line by going to the individual budget pages. Let's look at page 1A. Click the Actual button at the top and it will reveal an actual column along with a variance column. You can see the actual amount for each line number along with the variance for each. If you select one of the cells in the actual column, a pop-up box will appear showing you a breakdown of all of the costs from the logs associated with that line number. So that's an overview of how to actualize in TrueBudget. If you'd like to learn more about how to use TrueBudget, we have several other videos available. You can also visit our Help Center, which can be found on our website. It goes into details on all aspects of TrueBudget. Thanks for watching.